All right. Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and the glory to Yahawah, Bahashim, YAHAWASHI, Bahashim Rakak Kodesh. Double honors to the apostles and then to the elders, a great millstone, GMS, for telling me this truth. Honors to the brethren in the Akim that is pushing out this truth with all sincerity and in faith. And to Wadi Yahawah, Bahashim, YAHAWASHI, for allowing me once again to come back with another lesson. And the title of this lesson is simply going to be titled Words Hurt. Bear with me 1 second. Let me see if this is working. Bear with me 1 second. Yep. You good? Once again, title of this lesson, Word Hurts. And as you see, brothers, I have this little quote here because, today, every now and then, especially in the field and work that I'm in, I work with a lot of different guys. It's the same guys, but there's always somebody different every other day. And we do something, different jobs every other day. It's never nothing the same, which is why I like it and why I do it. But there are times where, you have a certain individual that will knock heads with another, and, they'll say, like my boss, like the other day, he had to leave the job site. We were working at night, and there's this guy, he's just a fucking tool, and he said, I seen him take off in his truck, and he bounced, and I'm just like, all right, well, we just continue to have everybody, work, and I called him maybe like 10-15 minutes after he had left, and I was like, hey, you plan on coming back, man? And he's like, oh, no, absolutely not. I had to leave. He's like, otherwise I was going to hurt somebody's feelings, because the guy that was working here, he's just, he says he knows what he's doing, and then he does it, and then we kind of look at him like, you sure you know what and, he's just like, I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, and somebody had told him, or told the other guy about, like, why the boss left, and he's like, I don't care, those words, whatever he says, is not going to bother me, it's not going to hurt me, which that could be true. Could be true with him, because he probably doesn't care or doesn't give a fuck, which, if that's the case, then yeah. But when you're told the truth, no matter who you're being told by, when you're told the truth, that hurts. Like, for instance, like, all of us had a girl once, and for the most part, I would say 9 times out of 10, the woman broke up with us and not us with them. And they may have said something like, I just don't feel that anymore. I don't feel the same with you no more. I don't feel, attracted to you no more, or whatever it is, right? I just don't feel that spark. That there may or may not be the truth, but at the end of the day, it probably is. Because us men, we're kind of, we kind of like to dismiss that kind of shit. But it's probably true, and that hurts amongst a lot of things. Oh, you might be slow, you're not as strong, or you're not as smart. Yeah, it might be true. It probably is true, but it's guess what? When you're being told that, those things are gonna hurt, and that's why this saying of sticks and broke bones shit. I kind of don't really like it. Or that's not that I hate it and all. I hate that quote. It's just that it's not always true. You know what I mean? But you got this quote from Cambridge English Dictionary. It says, "Sticks and stones may break my bones." Cambridge English Dictionary. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Now, words that I know that could really get to people's spirit, cut them, is when you read these scriptures, man. And we see it take place not only like on our videos. We might get comments here and there like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, and then you have people in the highways and hedges that'll come up and be like, oh, you rub them, you don't rub them the wrong way. It's just like the things that you're saying, it's not jiving with them. When you bring up like, oh, if you're a faggot, you're gonna get put to death, and that might trigger some people. That will hurt a person who is that, amongst many things. You white people going into slavery, you niggas, if you don't get right, Most High's gonna jack you up. Those things are true, what we're saying. And that bothers a lot of, especially amongst our people, because the ones that come up against us the most is who? You Israelites. You know, ain't that a bitch? You know, the people who we're out there for, they're the main ones attacking us, getting at us, and telling us that we ain't shit. Which is kind of bizarre, but hey, that's what the job. Hey, that's what comes with this job. You're gonna go through that. You know, but that's okay. We're okay with what we got to go through and deal with. You people don't. You're not even doing anything. You're just existing, and then you're just hearing what we got to say to you, and it doesn't sit well with your spirit, and that's why these words hurt, man. All right, because this word is quick, baby. It ain't no joke, baby. Ain't no joke. But let's grab this. This is the book of Hebrews. It's you know, one of the first precepts that comes to my mind when I talk about, or when it talks about the word, because this word is real, man. Is real, like steel. But this is Hebrews 4:12, and it says, "For the word of the heavenly Father is quick and powerful, and sharper than any two-edged sword." See that? So this word is quick, and it's also not only just quick. That's pretty good. But what makes it even better is it's also powerful. And what makes it even better than quick and powerful, what makes it greater is it's sharper than any two-edged sword. So this word is quick and precise, quick and deadly, you know, quick to let somebody know that, hey, this ain't what you want. And this word is what, tears people down to the core, to the heart. Because when you read on, it says, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner, which, hey man, that's what this word is. It'll call you out in your bullshit, And it says, and is a discerner of the thoughts and the intents of the heart, which is your mind. Okay? So that's what this word is. And these words could hurt. Like, one, Jeremiah. Hey, this is one of the, that's a good one. This one's a good one too. Jeremiah 23:49, or 29. There's not even 49 verses, 29. Yep. And it says, is not my word like a fire? Which, man, when no, I don't care who you are, because nobody here is a superhero, at least not yet, or has superhuman abilities. But you play with fire, it's gonna burn you. All right, matter of fact, let's look that up. It's probably the dumbest thing I've ever looked up. It's actually a question. Wow. It says fires have a far-reaching consequences, affecting people, property, and environments. They can also significantly damage buildings and personal belongings, lead to injuries and fatalities, and even impact the mental health of those affected. So those are the consequences of fire. So the word of the Heavenly Father, and as it says right here, it says, is not my word like a fire? So fire, man, you play with it, there are consequences to anybody who wants to tamper with it. I don't care who you think you are. You play with fire, man, you're going to fuck around and you're going to find out, all right? And it says, saith the Lord, Yahawah. So this word is like a fire, and you don't mess around with fire, man. That's something that is an element that is unbeatable, when it comes to them or us and it, okay? And it says, and it says, and like an hammer that breaketh the rock into pieces. And hey, you brothers that work with a hammer, man, there's times where, like, I'm in the groove, and then there's times where I'll miss that nail or it'll slip out my hand, and you'll fucking knock your finger, and that shit hurts. It's not the funnest feeling. It sucks. It makes you want to fucking throw a hammer at someone, especially if you get yourself real good. Yeah, it's gonna suck. But that's what this word does. It's like a fire, and it breaketh you people down to pieces at times. That's why, like, people get that, and it's a good thing. This is one thing that I myself and all of his brothers have felt, and we still do feel. That spirit of conviction, because it lets you know, like, you feel bad of, like, damn, I wish I did this, or you know what I mean. Like, that spirit of conviction is good. you know. And those of you that don't have it, man, I feel, I mean, I don't really feel sorry for anybody, but you know, that's a scary sign to not have any kind of level of conviction, especially if the things that a lot of you people do in this world, you don't have that spirit of conviction, man. I don't know. Like you might just be up at it. You're just breathing, and you know that's about it. You know that's really it. And you're just here to get destroyed, man. At the end of the day, you know by the by the words of the Most High, Yahawah Shem, Yahawashai. Okay, and this word is gonna, at the end of the day, these words that we speak, this is what's gonna judge a lot of people in the end days, in these last times. You know, one script. I was gonna grab another one, but I gotta look it up. Or I'll try to see. I have an idea where it is, but I want to say it's backwards or it's, you know, I don't think I got it precise. But let's go to this before I try to go ahead and find that one. This is Saint John, 12:48, and it says here, and it says, "And he that rejecteth me," which a lot of people reject this world. Majority of the world rejects this word. Okay, or they had it once, or they believed in it, but now since all this other stuff is available and at their grabs, you know, they've rejected the Heavenly Father, and that's those of you people in the world, and some of you men that were in the faith that turned their back off the plow. You know, you put your hand off the plow and you look back. But it says, "He that judgeth me," or Salakia judges me, "he that rejecteth me and receiveth not my words, has one that judgeth him. The word that I have spoken now, the word that is spoken is the Most High's words, but and it's spoken through by him, but through us. Okay, we are his mouthpiece. And it says, "In the word that I have spoken, the same shall judge him in the last day." You see that? So this word is going to judge a lot of you people here in these last days. Those of you that rejected it, you didn't want to get it. You thought it was BS and it's wasting my time. I got better things to do in my life, you know. And that day you're going to regret that. And it's going to be too late. You're just going to get judged right on the spot. All right. Um, let's go here. Second Thessalonians, chapter what is that, 4? Or no, 2 and 4. Um, 2 and 4, 2 and 8. Second Thessalonians 2 and 8. And then shall that wicked be revealed, which is you Edomites, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. All right, because this word is helping take you devils down, man. And it says, "And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming." See that? So then it's gonna see we're getting judged with this word, and then you gonna get the real judgment when Yahweh will send his son Yahawashi along with the thousands of heaven. Okay. But there's this one where it says, Jeremiah 5:14. Okay, I had 14, but I wouldn't have found it. Jeremiah 5. Um, Jeremiah 5 and verse 14, and it says here, oops, 5 and 14, and it says, "And wherefore thus saith the Lord power of hosts, because ye speak this word, behold, I will make my words in thy mouth fire, and this people would." And we already know the consequence. We just went over the consequences of fire. I've never looked up something like that because it should be like unless you just came from another planet, which is impossible. Um, you should know what fire does, you know. But we already read the consequences of fire. It can fuck up virtually almost anything, including people. And that's what this word is. It's like a fire. And it says, "I will make my words in thy mouth fire, and this people wood, which fire devours wood, and it shall devour them." And that's what's happening. This word is really jacking people up in their minds, you know, having them feel bad, you know. And that's what this word does. You know, it cuts you to the spirit, not in a physical cut. You know, El Apostle Dahar, he's all like, yeah, you know, I remember when he talked about like vocab coming up. He says, we cut his ass up. You know, we cut you deep, cut you up deep. Now, he had to, really, had to explain what he meant by that because a lot of other camps would be like, oh, you see, we are cutting people, nigga. You know, it's like, no, we ain't cutting, literally, we cutting due to the spirit, which is far worse, you know. But that's what this word does, man. It don't play. It don't joke. Okay? And it's not us that speak it. It's the spirit of our Father which speaketh within us. Okay? So don't get mad at us. You take it up with the Most High if you feel like you should. Or feel like you can. Or could. But I'm going to go ahead and end it on this precept. This is a good one right here. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 28 and verse 16. 17. We'll start at 16. 17, actually. Yep. And it says, this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 28, verse 16. Yeah, we'll just start at 16. It says, and whoso hearkeneth unto it shall never find rest, and never dwell quietly. The stroke of the whip maketh marks in the flesh, right? Which that whip, that'll fuck people up quick, clean, Maybe not clean, but quick for sure. It says, the stroke of the whip maketh marks in the flesh, but the stroke of the tongue breaketh the bones. You see that? And it says, and many have fallen by the edge of the sword, but not as so many as fallen by the tongue, which is the word that we speak. Because like when you say, when people say, oh, he was speaking in tongues, when it's not talking about gibberish bullshit, right? It's talking about in different languages, in your speech, what you talk, what you say. All right, and what we say is we tell you what the scriptures say. Okay, and it either resonates with you or it's going to resonate with you regardless, but it's either going to help you or break you, or make or break you. There's only two options when coming across this truth. It's going to help you to build your faith up, or it's going to help you to really get closer and closer to your punch out date. That's why it says many have fallen, not so many has fallen by the tongue, because these words are quick and powerful, as the scriptures say. All right. But I'm going to go ahead and end it here through the Spirit. I pray this lesson was edifying, exhorting, and comforting. And as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, YAHAWASHI, 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 and so until the next one, I keep shalom.